All right, good morning, everyone, and again, thank you for your patience. I think we've ironed out every technical issue we've had so far. Fingers crossed for us. So let's go ahead and get right into today's presentation. My name is Jeremiah Rivera, and I'm with the City of Houston's Housing and Community Development Department. The purpose of today's webinar is for developers wanting to learn more about the newly launched Affordable Home Development Program. If you are an individual looking for assistance on your home ownership journey, please visit houstontx.gov/housing/homes. This is where we list all of the City of Houston's down payment assistance programs. And we'll be putting that link in the chat box for you in a few moments as well. We're going to go over the full agenda in just a moment, but at a high level, this webinar is split into 3 sections. We'll begin with this PowerPoint presentation that details the AHCP program and the application process. We'll then transition to a live demonstration of the AHCP website and the application form. And finally, we'll have a dedicated question and answer time where we'll take your questions and answer them with our program staff. So with that said, let's go through some housekeeping items and get right into the meat of our presentation today. Number 1, please mute your microphones during today's presentation. Number 2, we encourage you to enter your questions in the chat box to the right as they come up. If you're joining us through Facebook, one of our team members will be posting your comments into our team's chat box for you. Program staff will answer your questions throughout the presentation, and then we'll read some of those answers out loud at the end for those of you who may be joining us through the phone. Number 3, if you prefer to ask questions out loud, use the raise hand icon near the top of the screen, but we'll call on you to ask your question during the question and answer portion of our presentation. And number 4, we are recording today's presentation and we'll upload it to the AHCP website in a few business days. We'll also send out this presentation and the PowerPoint and links to anyone who is registered for today's webinar in the next day or so as well. And with that said, I'd like to briefly introduce you to the HCD staff that you'll be hearing from today. To my right is Ray Miller, who's the Assistant Director of the Multifamily Division here at HCDD. And to my left is Steve Harris, who is the Division Manager over the Affordable Home Development Program. Questions that you will be asking through the chat will be answered through Olivia Bush, who's the Administration Manager of the Affordable Home Development Program. And with that said, I'm pleased to introduce Steve. You're went a little bit ahead. I'm pleased to introduce Ray to have a few introductory comments for everyone joining us today.
You got it. Thank you, Jeremiah. Good morning, everybody. You'll be hearing from Steve soon enough, the important guy in the room, but thanks for the opportunity to talk just a little bit about the Affordable Home Development Program that we launched here in the Housing Department. I'm going to take just a quick minute, and everyone who is probably familiar with many of the programs that we do operate in the Housing Department, specifically for single family, really targeted for individuals and home ownership opportunities. So you might be familiar with our down payment assistance program and home specifically for home buyers. This is an opportunity for us to work exclusively with the development community. What we're doing is we're going out to you. We're asking you to bring us opportunities to invest in your projects for affordable housing options. And what we want are transactions that are quote unquote shovel ready, that'll be ready to be launched here within the next 6 months, but at the same time, being able to partner with you to provide the affordable housing that we know and we love to do. And the reason we're doing it in this way, we are looking for the opportunity to leverage on what you do best, and that is to develop, and we're going to leverage on what we do best, and that is to finance your development. So I just want to take this as an opportunity is we are looking for partnerships that will expand our mission, expand our programs, and expand the way we do things throughout the city. We are looking for quality transactions that will bring a volume of affordable housing and home buying opportunities to the city. And this fantastic team around the table, led by Steve Harris and Olivia and Jeremiah, have worked tirelessly to bring you this program, to launch it at this point. And I am excited to see the results. And We will be hearing about our pre-application process a little later here in the program, and then we have our guidelines that are posted, and we are looking to present this and also hear back from you from today's presentation and moving forward. And what I want to emphasize, this is still the start of the process. So if you have not signed up for our listserv, where you're going to be receiving updates and status reviews on our program, please do so. And please also engage with us as much as possible. We want to hear back from you regarding the effectiveness of this program. So I will turn this now back over to Jeremiah to continue in our presentation and programming, but thank you very much.
And thank you for that, Ray. So we're going to jump right into the agenda for today's meeting. A little more detail on that. So again, thank you for that transition, Ray. So that was a great high-level overview of what we're trying to do here today, and we're going to talk about more detail now. So our agenda, for those of you who are joining us over the phone, we'll use this PowerPoint presentation. Number one, we'll use the PowerPoint to talk about the Affordable Home Development Program, and this will include developer qualifications and timelines. Number two, which is our next step phase, we're going to outline more specifically the application process itself. Number three is our resources section, and here we'll have a direct link to our website and share with you our program email inbox. And this is where we're going to transition away from the PowerPoint presentation to show you the website and give a live demonstration of that and where you can find the application portal. And then we'll show you how to navigate that application portal as well. And then step four, we'll transition again and come back to answer your questions that have been posed throughout our time together. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on and talk about the Affordable Home Development Program and move right into the introduction of that. So the Affordable Home Development Program is a bit different, like Ray was just mentioning, than what we've done in HDD in the past of our scattered lot single-family development. This program seeks to finance large-scale single-family projects with the goal of increasing total housing stock in Houston and affordable home ownership opportunities. With the Affordable Home Development Program, the department is actively seeking to partner with developers with shovel-ready developments located throughout the city. To be clear, the development can be anywhere within the City of Houston's jurisdiction, with some caveats to restrictions, for example, floodways and the 100-year floodplain. We're going to talk a little bit more about that and other aspects of the program guidelines in just a few slides. So let's go ahead, with that said, and transition to our next slide, which is the, okay, just wanted to make sure there's a little bit of lag on my screen, so apologies for that. So the city's affordable home investment slide that we're looking at together. You may recall earlier this year that City Council approved $100 million TIRS bond for affordable home housing. $30 million of that TIRS funding has been allocated to this program to provide gap financing to secure affordable homes. When developing your proposals, please keep in mind the primary purpose of funding requests must be for affordable homes, but infrastructure development is also an allowable cost. Moving on to the project pre-assessment. We developed a project pre-assessment, as you can see here on this slide, which are essentially 6 yes or no questions that help you know if your proposed project will be competitive. And we're going to go through those questions now. Number 1, will all the affordable homes be ready to sell before the end of 2023? Number 2, will the development have at least 40 affordable homes? It can have more, but it must have at least 40 affordable homes. Number 3, will the affordable homes be priced under $250,000? To be clear, this is a guidepost. When we say affordable homes in the context of this program, we are speaking to what is affordable for households that are at the 120% AMI threshold at the point of sale. Number 4, do you have site control or ownership of the land? Number 5, is the project within the City of Houston's jurisdiction and outside the 100-year floodplain or floodway? And number 6, does your organization have the capacity to complete this project? This includes organizational and financial capacity. And now let's talk about developer qualifications. We've listed out 6 developer qualifications for you on the slide for your consideration. Number one, developer eligibility. For-profit, nonprofit, and partnerships composed of a mix of both are eligible to apply for this program. Number two, good standing with the City of Houston on all previous loans, grants, and commitments. Number three, a demonstrated history of experience and capacity to complete your proposed project. Number four, capacity to complete the affordable home buyer eligibility process, from intake to screening to working with the city on income verification. Number five, verification of project eligibility. And we're going to discuss this in a little more detail in a few slides. And number six, please ensure that your project will abide by fair housing laws. And now we're going to talk about next steps. Here, very specifically, the two phases in the AHCP application. On this slide, you'll see the pre-application project details. And we're going to go through these step by step. Number one, all homes must be Energy Star compliant. Number two, this program is for new home construction, so no rehabilitation projects. Number three, these new homes must meet City of Houston resilience standards. And per our program guidelines, developments that exceed those standards will be prioritized during the pre-application evaluation process. We're going to show you how to find these program guidelines on our website when we get to our live demonstration. Number four, accessibility features and standards. We have a link to that full documentation of what this means in our program guidelines as well. And again, we'll show you how to get to those guidelines in just a few minutes. Number five, market and affordable homes. Earlier, we mentioned at least 40 homes must be considered affordable. The city is specifically looking only for mixed income development. No proposals that are only considered affordable will be considered. And number six, affordable home equivalency for the purposes of this slide are two related things. First, the affordable homes themselves must be of equivalent size, quality, materials, and finishes as the market rate homes. It must also be distributed throughout the project so that there are no perceivable concentrations of affordable homes in one part of the development. And just to be clear, we are going to talk about affordability in just in about 2 or 3 slides. So moving on, this slide is specifically about required documentation in the pre-application phase. These are specifically the documents that we'll be requesting for you to attach as part of the proposal. So number one is the preliminary application form. This is actually a site that we are going to demonstrate how to get through. And looking at this presentation, apologies, I skipped ahead a little bit. So number one is actually the development pro forma. Number two is evidence of site control. Number three is the floodplain map of the proposed site. Number four is the site map itself. And number five, evidence of compliance of all applicable federal and state requirements. So before transitioning to what we will ask for in the full application, we wanted to take a step back and talk about affordability. We're going to tie together a few comments that you may have heard throughout the presentation from earlier, involving collaboration, partnership, and the TERS funding, the $100 million in TERS funding. As you're designing your program and your application and thinking about marketing and selling affordable homes, please keep in mind the City of Houston and other entities have down payment assistance programs to help AMI households, low to moderate AMI households, finance new homes. Our newest program is in partnership with the Houston Community Land Trust, and it's called the Home Buyer's Choice Program, which we are detailing on this slide. The Home Buyer's Choice Program received $48 million in funding from the $100 million TERS bond earlier this year, and is administered in partnership with the Land Trust. Successful applicants can receive up to $150,000 or $100,000 in down payment assistance. The home buyer can receive the full $150,000 if the property is zoned to an A or B rated school. We're seeing promising results of households at lower AMI ranges, and when we say lower AMI, we're talking about the 50 to 60% range, being able to afford quality new homes through this program. The caveat is that the land under the home itself must be placed in trust the land trust. Again, though, the important thing to take away from this slide is that as you're planning your application, please keep in mind there are down payment assistance resources that you can take advantage of. We'll have a link to the Home Buyer Hub at the end of this presentation, where we list all of the City of Houston's down payment assistance programs, and any future down payment assistance programs will be loaded onto that website as well. So with that said, let's get back to the application process. On this slide, we will review the full application, which is by invitation. And I want to reemphasize that point. The full application will be invite only. HCDD will email successful applicants the invite to apply, and the department will consider the following items at this point. Number one, first, HCDD will determine if the project is feasible and viable based on the underwriting review submitted in the full application process. Number two, the full application will have an affirmative fair housing marketing plan that meets HCDD's requirements. Number three, a completed phase 1 environmental site assessment. Number four, proof illustrating that the project will comply with all applicable federal, state, and local laws, regulations, and ordinances. Number five, an agreement on the number of total homes and affordable homes, their sales prices, and other key considerations. And number six, additional project requirements that will be dependent on the proposed development itself. And now we're going to talk about timeline. So number one on this, for those of you joining us on the phone, I should take a step back. There are 4 items here on this list. Number one is rolling pre-application. For everyone, just so we're explicitly clear, is currently live on our website. And again, we're going to show you how to access that soon. It's our intention for our selection committee to review pre-application submitted from October 1st to November 15th. To be clear, you can submit your proposal ahead of October 1st, which is right around the corner in a couple of hours. But it's our intention the selection committee will review pre-application submitted the 45-day period that officially began on October 1st. All applications will receive notification of whether or not they'll be invited to send a full application by mid-December. To be explicit, the pre-application portal will remain live after November 15th, and you can continue to submit your applications afterwards. They just will not be reviewed in that first batch by the selection committee. Step 3 in the timeline is the full application and award period. Those invited to apply for the full application will have approximately 30 days to submit their application. We will have further information on this specific step in that invitation email when that goes out. The award process will likely go through the first quarter of 2022. There are key variables for this step in the timeline, and we want to make sure that we communicate that now ahead of time. This will be specifically kind of determined based on how well we collaborate and communicate together. This includes whether or not HCDD needs to ask for clarification or supporting documents from the awardees, which will impact our ability to have the full application go through our internal review process, which in turn will either slow down or expedite our ability to put that in front of the City Council for their approval. So again, effective communication between successful applicant and HCDD will help expedite this process. And we will submit each application to Council as quickly as possible rather than as one batch. So please keep that in mind if you are an awardee, that effective communication will help the process go by much faster. And this general process will continue until all funds are exhausted. We will update our website with information such as the specific dates the selection committee will meet, awardee information, and other program updates. We will also send this information out through our listserv communication. So as Ray mentioned, please sign up for that if you haven't already. And now we're going to transition to the resources that we've been alluding to throughout this presentation together. On to the next slide, which again, as a reminder, we are sending out this presentation to everyone who's attending. So no need to write down these links if you're looking at this. But we have here listed our HCP website, which is HoustonTX.gov/housing/AHCP. Our program inbox, where you can email the entire staff, is AHCP@HoustonTX.gov. And that home buyer hub page, which I mentioned earlier, which houses all of our down payment assistance program links, is HoustonTX.gov/housing/homes. And with that, we are going to transition to the website for a live demonstration. I'm going to, if you bear with me as I move away. And as a reminder, if you could please mute yourself, everyone. Thank you for that. It will help the presentation go by much more smoothly. And let me see. Give me just a moment as I transition away from the PowerPoint. Okay. I believe everyone can see that now. I'm going to go slow because I just want to make sure there isn't any issues of lag as we're going over this website. So apologies if the page slows down just a little bit. But we're looking at here at the Affordable Home Development Program webpage, HoustonTX.gov/housing/HDP. So the first part of this page is mostly information about the program details. This right here, if you click on this link, subscribe to our email list. This is where you can click and get subscribed to our listserv. My internet is going a little bit slow, but you'll see a pop-up box that will ask for just a couple of items, just name and your name and your email address. So that's pretty straightforward. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. This is the meat right here, this section that I'm highlighting of our website for our developers. So this information will very closely mirror what we just talked about throughout the webinar. So the first tab is eligibility, and I'm not going to read all this because we just went through it together. You can click proposal, which will have more information on that, including links that I mentioned throughout the website. We've purposely put these here for you to make sure they're easy to access. And the actual application, this is where I want to spend a little bit more time and, to help you navigate our application form. So specifically this column I'm highlighting here, this is the pre-application form. These specific bullets, the bullets 2 through 6, these are documents that we'll ask you to upload to our application portal. And this link right here, the HDP preliminary application form, is a fillable PDF, but really what we're looking for here is a submission to the pre-application form. These two are linked, and I'm going to show you why in just 1 second. But how you will submit your application is through our online portal. And cross fingers that my connection speeds up a little bit, but you will be taken to a new tab. It normally takes, when I have a regular connection, it takes about 5 seconds or so. So I'm going to try that one more time. I asked all of you to have your fingers crossed, so if one of you uncross your fingers, I'm very disappointed. I'm going to try the PDF because it's the same information. Okay. Okay, so the downloadable PDF is working just fine right now, so we're going to go through that. But this is the pre-application form. These are the questions. What we recommend to you strongly is that you, if you are wanting to apply for this program, take a look at this fillable PDF. You don't have to fill it out. But look at the questions, have these questions answered. I'm not going to go through all these questions because that will take some time, and we want to make sure we reserve a lot of time at the end for questions and answers. But these are the same questions we're asking you in the application portal. So it's our intention that you have this little PDF, that you're able to look at it, because this application portal, I'm having a little bit of connection issues. Okay, I think I'm back. So, sorry about that, everyone. So to get back to what I was saying, the application portal does time out after a while, so if you begin filling it out, if you get called into a meeting or someone gives you a phone call and you have to step away for a while, the application portal will time out after 20, 30 minutes of inactivity. So if you have begun filling it out and you have to step away, you will lose that information. So it's our recommendation that you use the fillable PDF template that we're looking at, have all of your answers ready, perhaps schedule off 30 minutes on your calendar, and just put everything in at one time. So again, this information we're looking at here on this form is the exact same thing that will be on the application portal. And apologies again for my connection issues, but these are really, this part here is really the meat of how to get to the application itself and how to submit your proposal. And then we also have some FAQs, which we're going to go through in just a minute. And we have documents and resources here for you as well, including the program guidelines, which I mentioned we would talk about. And we will upload this presentation in the next few days on this website as well. As you may remember in communication, we had one on the 21st. So if you want to catch that one, it's mostly going to be the same content, but if you're so inclined, that's already uploaded as well. But again, this will be uploaded in a couple of business days as well. So with that said, I am going to hand it back to Steve, and Steve is going to address some FAQs that have come into our inbox so far. And then we will get, after Steve is done with that, we will answer any questions that weren't addressed directly from his FAQs. Great.
Thank you, Jeremiah, and thanks to all of our friends out there. I'd like to thank our leader, Ray Miller, who's been a good guide to me as I've joined the city and worked on a lot of important things. But to complete this within 2 months is impossible. And Olivia Bush and Jeremiah have worked hard to do so. And we're proud of the work product, but we do know there are some questions that naturally arise, and we're going to answer those as we go. And we also want to make sure we give everybody full access to all of the questions that have been asked of us and the answers as we develop them. But so far, the frequently asked question is, can applicants only submit sites within the city limits? And yes, we have to have sites that are within the city limits of Houston. What are the minimum lot size? There are no minimum lot size, but we do want a minimum of 40 units, 40 affordable units for any submission. Third is, can developers submit multiple projects in the same application, or do separate applications need to be submitted per project? And I think that this is really intended to say, if you've got 3 or 4 things you want to do, it's much better in your interest to submit them separately rather than have one project that might not be accepted. You increase your likelihood by submitting 4. And also, we require that it be the same project, that we could have a tract with a few contiguous sites or nearby sites, but we do want to have each project stand on its own, and we'll evaluate those as such. Next, is there a maximum amount of funds that can be received? And no, but we do have limited funds available, and our intent is to have a number of developers or builders utilize the program, and we want to allow opportunities throughout the city. So that's going to be something we really look at carefully. What exactly do you mean by single family? I don't know that a single family home is necessarily a standalone, but we are looking at forms of home ownership. So the key is that we want homes that will allow home ownership for residents in Houston, and it could be single family detached, townhomes, condos, any form of home ownership. If condos and townhouses are allowed, won't it be more like multifamily? Well, certainly the structure may be more like an apartment, but I think the important thing is the home ownership and the right of the home buyer to have the ownership of their property. The community land trust plan gives people ownership of the physical property without the underlying land, but that dramatically reduces the cost to the borrower and can really push our affordability to many, many more families than would otherwise be able to do that. So I think that's why we wanted to make sure we included that, even though it's not directly part of this. But any of the ancillary city housing financing opportunities could apply to this. Any lender opportunities, and we want to make sure it's available for full and fair access of any financing opportunities. Many home builders have financing means, lenders available. Would this benefit potential home buyers, or should it be left up to the buyer? Builder financing is always welcome, but we think it's good for the home buyer to realize they have the right to access their financing wherever is best for them. And then I think Jeremiah really covered very well the $250,000 price cap is a suggested what we think is the maximum price to look at. But in reality, affordable homes are those that take no more than 30% of the gross income for a family to cover their housing costs. And so start with the cost of the home. We can reduce that through various methods, have affordable interest rates to make it a better payment. And then we need to make sure that they qualify using no more than 30% of their gross income. A couple of more detailed questions we've gotten, and these again are some that will be posted, are the approved and final budget from the guidelines, and it says, is this for land development or for the construction of the home? And again, we're primarily financing affordable homes, but it might include infrastructure. So the program is designed for shovel-ready projects, which will receive priority. But if land development costs are included, we need those as well as construction cost estimates so that we can get to your pricing of the homes. And the city contribution should allow a reduction of the affordable home prices or other closing costs to make it affordable. Finally, let's see, the developer, is this referencing the home builder? This is a question from a combination developer and home builder, but it is intended to be the developer, and it could be the builder if they're assuming the developer role. But again, we're not looking for a development project per se. We're looking at somebody with site control that can come in, and we're looking for development of the homes and what will the cost be to make those affordable to your buyers. And on page 12 of our guidelines, it's suggested that perhaps we reference multifamily, and I guess that's to me also the affirmatively furthering fair housing is something that evolves from the multifamily area, but which we strictly want to and think is important to comply. But the Energy Star, we intend to apply the single family Energy Star family standards. Next question was disbursement on a unit by unit. Is the gap funding applied to land development or the home construction? And again, ideally, this would be an incentive which allows buyers who would not otherwise be able to purchase a home, and funds can be applied to sale so they can be funded as affordable homes are sold to qualified buyers. So if we make a contribution that reduces land costs, that should definitely flow through and benefit the home buyer in the form of a lower cost than the neighboring identical market price homes that you're selling to people who would not qualify. And finally, very important on our guidelines, you say Davis-Bacon need to confirm that that does not apply to these funds. That is correct. The current Affordable Home Development Program is funded by TERS, the wonderful $100 million, of which we have $30 million. Because those are TERS funds, they're not subject to the Davis-Bacon. And similarly, because these are TERS funds, they're for affordable homes up to purchasers up to 120% of adjusted median family income. So that concludes kind of the questions we've had, and we'll certainly welcome those from you. But I'd like to thank everybody for being with us again today, and several participants who were here last week. We hope we've done better. We wanted to bring a little more energy because we have had another week of chance to consider this and to go further down the line. And now we're ready to turn it over to you for your questions. And we do encourage you to complete and file online the submission. We've been test driving that. And the important thing, as Jeremiah says, is you need to complete it all at once and hit the submit button when you're ready. You cannot save and come back, or you'll be starting over. So plan your day for that submission and get that done. We will have rolling applications, but start tomorrow, get them in early. We're eager to see what your creativity will bring to help us meet the challenges. Somebody also asked the question, is the mayor talking about 2,000 affordable homes or 2,000 homes? Let me just say, I'm not exactly sure, but 2,000 homes is a large goal to reach. And certainly we're going to do everything we can to have as much affordable home included in that and to have a real step forward.
Steve, and I'm sorry, don't mean to interrupt. Let me also provide some clarification too on that 2,000 home goal, because yes, the mayor has put that out in the ether several times, and there's been some questions about what exactly does that entail. What I'm going to go back and say this, because of these funds that were procured mostly for the bond increment, there was this goal of 2,000 homes to be produced out of this. Now, but this is going to come from a variety of programming too, because there is down payment assistance that's provided there. There's opportunities for community land trust investment. There is new home investment that's going to be coming out of those funds, out of the $100 million too. So while we will reiterate, yes, we are looking for 2,000 affordable homes to come out of this $100 million issuance. But also, this is also going to be leveraged with our DR17 funds, and we'll be seeing that a little later this year. So what I don't want to necessarily have the message out there is volume. That is not the result. While we want to make sure we have a robust showing of homes that come through this program, it is not about the volume. Quality and site selection is going to be just as key. There's going to be a balancing act of which gets prioritized one before another, but it's going to vary by project, and we're going to review that. But I just wanted to clarify, we do have a goal and initiative from the mayor's office to reach that 2,000 home goal, but that's going to be done through a variety of programs, not solely just through this one. So I just want to provide some clarification.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
And thank you both for the FAQs and for that clarification. I think we're ready to take questions that weren't addressed from the audience. I think there were a few that Olivia's already addressed, mostly about, the first few are about the 120% AMI and clarifying that that is correct. And as Olivia answered in the chat, that is the case. As I'm looking through these questions, please raise your hand if you'd like to unmute yourself to ask your question. I don't see any hand raise emojis yet on my screen. So please, if you have a question that wasn't addressed yet.
We got one already.
Oh, we got one already? Okay. I guess I'm lagging on my end. So, okay. I see Peter Friedman. Please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hey, thank you very much. Today was great, by the way. You guys did an awesome job. I had a question about the mixed income part of this. You said 40% is a minimum, but it has to be mixed income. What would be the highest percentage, I think, or you think that the affordable side could go to?
We don't have a set percentage. We just need a minimum of 40 affordable.
Minimum of 40, not necessarily a maximum of 100, or it would not be mixed, but clearly a good solid mix, and it is important to have the market price as well as affordable.
Okay, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
And I don't see any additional questions, hand raised so far, but we do have another question that wasn't directly addressed, that was put in the chat box that Olivia addressed, that I want to just respond to out loud in case some of you are joining us over the phone and aren't able to see the chat box easily. There was a question about how HOA fees would be factored into homeownership costs, and Olivia answered that yes, we will factor in HOA fees into the affordability calculation for the home buyer as well as utilities. And I'm looking to see if there are other questions in the chat. Well, I presume everyone's just kind of getting the mind wrapped around, ready to ask questions. I see, second hand raised. Kurt, please go ahead and unmute yourself and ask a question for the team.
Yeah, thanks again. I had a question following up on the affordability in the mix. If it is a infill site in the city of Houston, where there's already market rate homes being built, do those factor into the mixed income, or is the application, the program, looking for the developer to put new market rate homes on the ground? How would that be considered or in the application process?
So we're financing the affordable home. So our investment as a city is investing for affordable home ownership. Developer, what they do with their market rate homes, we want to make sure we have a complete community, which means that we don't want the fact that affordable homes are coming to a neighborhood to be disruptive to that community. So that's why we're looking for a mix for everyone involved. But at the end of the day, our interest is to finance the affordable homes.
Sure. I guess I'm just wondering if the case could be made that it's in a neighborhood that is gentrifying already. In other words, the market is already producing market rate homes. They're popping up, but a developer has site control and can secure affordable homes in a particular neighborhood. Would that project meet the mixed income requirement that you've laid out?
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, so Kurt, I guess, yeah, so I think, so if I'm gonna, and is this the idea that would this be on a scattered site, or is this still a contiguous, like one parcel that?
No, this
that
is a scattered site, and so this
Scattered
is OST
site, okay.
South Union, and there's a lot of scattered sites, and so, yeah.
Okay. So the opportunity you bring us to say, 40 individual parcels, all 100% being affordable, but within a community that's seeing a lot of market rate homes come up in that process?
Correct.
Okay. We would have to evaluate it. I will say the scattered site model, does bring its challenges, when we're looking at these proposals. Initially, the thought was, looking at large contiguous parcels through this program. We're not going to exclude scattered site, but like I said, those do bring individual challenges. But if you're bringing those and making those 100% affordable, we'll look at it. But we'll have to compare those against the other proposals that we're seeing.
Great, thank you.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I would say that. And Kurt, if I ask you a question, were you saying that you have ownership or site control of market rate homes that are being built in the area, or are you just projecting that there will be more market rate homes built in this specific neighborhood?
We are seeing market rate homes listed currently today, new construction that's been completed in the last 6 months, and more that are under permit already today by developers who are not trying to develop affordable units.
Yeah. So I would give us, in that, we have a lot of questions about the neighborhood within the pre-application. And when you give us your project narrative, take that into account so we can look at the project and the neighborhood as a whole. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you for that question, Kurt. I'm taking a look. Peter, did you have a second question, or is your hand raised from earlier?
No, sorry about that.
Okay, all right, no worries. I do that all the time too. Does anyone else have any questions? Of course, if you don't have questions now, if you're like me, since I often walk out of meetings and all of a sudden all my good questions come up, you can also, again, our inbox is there. But as I was going through that spiel, it looks like we have another hand raised. So, Mr. Zahir Berkeley, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question for the team.
Good morning to all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you please elaborate on the model? How would you see this unfolding? because it's a bit confusing, and I'm talking about the large-scale development. How do you see this unfolding? Because as I read the guidelines and I read the application, the terms home builder and developer are used interchangeably, and I can't make the distinction between the two. Typically, a large-scale development is a two-phase process. A phase where the finished lot is produced by a developer, and then a home builder built the home. So who is supposed to apply for these funds and subsidies, the home builder or the developer?
So
How do
as
you
the
see
develop,
this playing out?
yeah, so Zach, as the developer, or as you are coming, if you're the one who has the site control and it has site ownership and has a master developer plan and coming to the city for financing to help offset the funds for, and if you're asking for, cost to help offset the horizontal developer, and then you're going to turn around and sell lots to home builders, that's fine. But what I'm going to say, though, is as the developer, though, you're going to be taking on the responsibility and obligation to make sure those homes do end up in the hands of affordable households. So to the extent that you would then pass along those obligations to the home builders, to provide the affordability requirements. But as far as the structure goes, as you as the developer is approaching for us for the funds to offset the cost for development, you would then need to pass along those obligations over to the home builders as well. So we will have a contract agreement with you as the developer to provide the certain number of homes you're supposed to provide, and then we'll allow you to push that down on the downstream to the home builders as needed for all the documentation and requirements that we've outlined in the application and the guidelines. Does that help?
That helps. Thank you very much. Follow-up question. Would the builders be eligible for subsidy as well?
So could the builders come in and participate in this program to the extent that they have, site control? That would not be the extent of what we're doing. What we're trying to do is do this within an efficient model to work with one developer to provide the homes back over, to provide the certain number of homes to us. So if you're wanting the home builder to come to apply to us, that really hits with the efficiency that we're trying to achieve in this program. What we would want to do is making sure that we're working with one entity to provide the homes from whatever particular neighborhood you're pitching to us.
Thank you. I don't want to take all the time. I do have follow-up question, but I do want to allow other people to ask. So if there's additional time available, let me know, and I'd like to have a follow-up question.
Let's see, do we have any other questions out from the audience? I don't see any other hands raised at the moment, or don't see anyone typing anything in the chat box. So,
Okay.
Yep,
So
go ahead.
stop me if somebody would want to ask a question, and I'll stop.
Okay.
Obviously, we're doing this because the opportunities to build large-scale developments in the city of Houston are scarce. Builders and developers tend to build outside the city of Houston for a reason, because producing a finished lot in the city of Houston is very costly for a builder or a developer to produce a entry-level home. So there is some level of subsidy needed to make it possible and attract developers and builders to come in the city of Houston in general. The areas that we're looking at by nature would require to build entry-level homes that would be sold to qualified purchasers. The market dictates so. So in order for us to do this, we have to level the playing field to the builders. We have to be able to produce a lot that's comparable in price, say if they want to go build in the county or the outer skirt of the city. So that's step number one to make this happen from our standpoint. And in doing so, we require some subsidy to make it attractive enough for a builder to come and say, yeah, I want to build inside the city of Houston. Once they are there, we run this equation all the time.
Hey, Zach, I'm sorry, but we're running short on time. Can you jump to the question? I know you're getting there, but yeah, go ahead.
The cost is $60,000 of the lot, and the cost of a home is $200,000, and then we're trying to hit a 150 to 227. Just tell me, how do you see that playing out? Just help me out.
Well, Zach, this is one of the things we're going to ask you guys to provide us the proposals for. If this is something your particular shovel-ready project cannot make the numbers work, I would advise you to review the guidelines. And if this is not going to be for everybody, this won't offset the cost for every program. But there are areas within our 650 square miles of area that do have available lots and do have available homes. And yes, we are ready to invest heavily to help offset those costs. But this is where we're going to defer to you to provide the proposals to us of what you're looking for. But we have the guidelines out there. We would encourage you to review the numbers and the limits of how much we are willing to invest within these areas and neighborhoods. And if you can make it work, we encourage you to send in that application as needed. But just to emphasize that the City of Houston taxpayers who are financing this program with TERS bonds, so we have to be financing areas inside city limits to be providing those affordable housing options here. But that's what I would encourage you to look at. We've structured this program to provide, that subsidy layering and provide, that level of support. And again, look at the guidelines, look at the reviews, send in your application. But I would just encourage for you to make sure that you're sending in a proposal that you're comfortable with, because at the end of the day, it is the developer that's going to be on the hook for providing those affordable homes. So I can't sit here with the 3 minutes left to work through the math with you. But I would just encourage you to make sure that you're very mindful when you're sending in the pre-application.
Thank you.
Sure.
Do we have any other questions from anyone in the audience? I don't see any in the chat. Okay. Well, in that case, we do have one more thing we want to share in our PowerPoint presentation, which we're going to transition to. And as we're getting to that last slide, I just want to remind everyone, if you do have questions that come up, immediately after we hang up or whatever the case may be, you can always email us at ahdp@houstontx.gov, and that inbox goes to all of us. So we definitely monitor that inbox, and we will respond to your questions as soon as we're able. And so with the last minute or so, and we're just transitioning back to the PowerPoint presentation, we are going to talk about some future opportunities that will be available before the end of the calendar year. So give us just 1 second as we pull that up for everyone. And as we're doing that, again, we want to thank all of you for joining us. We realize this is a work day, and we are very appreciative of your time and, of course, of your questions, as we are very sincere in working with you in partnership and collaboration to get this program off the ground and affordable homes built for the people, the citizens of the City of Houston. And now we're going to transition and talk about those upcoming opportunities. These are independent of the Affordable Home Development Program. So we do want to just put this out on the radar for everyone that we do have the Harvey Single Family Development Program that is funded through CDBG-DR 17 funds. Our intention is to have $60 million in 2 NOFAs that will be released before the end of the calendar year. These will be 2 different opportunities. The first will be in the form of city-owned land in the near north side. This will be for approximate value of $20 million. $15.8 million of that will be in land value of land that the city owns, and the rest of that funding could be potentially used in infrastructure development. We are also going to have, as part of this program, a separate gap financing opportunity in a similar fashion to what we've been discussing together over the last hour. So we're still dotting the I's and crossing the T's on this, but again, we anticipate before the end of the year both these NOFAs will be out. If you are anxious and want to read our program guidelines, you can find those already at recovery.houstontx.gov/HSSDP, quite the acronym. But the program guidelines are out there, And when the notices come out, we will reach out to you via the listserv. So we encourage you again to sign up for that. We will update our website, and we will be in communication with all of you. So with that said, we've hit our time together. Thank you, everyone, again, for joining us today. We will put this information on our website. We're going to email it to you directly. And again, be in touch with your questions. So thank you, and have a great rest of your day.